Greetings, Neo-Swedenborgians. You are on top of the refrigerator. So I'm thinking of a little bit of a new format where I do 1 on the half, let's say. So this is going to be 434.5, but I'm going to save the half for the rant. So I'm going to rant on the half. And my rant today is, here's my receipt. You know, I practice the violin, and I bought this timer for my practice, right? Because like you want to practice for 20 minutes, let's say. Often I'll set a timer on the phone, but then sometimes I want to not have any electricity. I sometimes uninvite electricity, but that's another subject. So I saw this kind of a kitchen timer for baking or whatever in the sale bin at the store, brand new in the box. I bought it. It doesn't work. It doesn't work brand new out of the box. And so my rant on the half, this kind of revives an old rant of mine. Because years ago, I went into this True Value hardware store, and it was around Halloween, and I needed a flashlight, and right there in the bin in the front was a bin of flashlights with the True Value logo on it, and I bought one. And I brought it home, and it didn't work. It was brand new. And I went back, and I said, you know, I bought this brand new. It doesn't work, and it has your logo on it. This is like representing your True Value hardware company. And the manager woman said, well, what do you expect? It's just a cheap flashlight. And so they know they're selling stuff that's junk from the get-go. It doesn't work. So the response is, what do you expect? I expect it to work when it's brand new, right? When you buy something brand new, you expect it to work. You don't expect like 5 out of 20 to work. You expect every single one to work. And this is the rant. The subject of this rant is this junk we're being surrounded with. That is a piece of junk from the moment it's made. Those flashlights, those True Value hardware, the True Value hardware flashlights were pieces of junk from the moment they were made. Since we're on the subject, this kind of brings up the subject of Robert Pirsig's idea of quality. So I haven't talked about Robert Pirsig much, but my whole philosophy is very much influenced by Robert Pirsig. Robert Pirsig wrote a book called Zen and the Art of Motorcycle Maintenance. And I rode a bicycle cross country with a friend of mine in the 80s, and we left from the Atlantic Ocean and we went to the Pacific Ocean. And around Iowa, I think it was Cedar Rapids, Iowa, we both got a little hungry for something to read. And we stopped in this bookstore, and he got Jack Kerouac's On the Road. And in the bookstore, I remember I picked up this Zen and the Art of Motorcycle Maintenance, and I was going to read the first sentence. And the very first sentence is something along the lines of, I can see my watch without removing my hand from the handlebar of the motorcycle. And if it's this hot at 8:30 in the morning, it's going to be a really hot day today. That's kind of a paraphrase. But anyway, the point being that the very first sentence of the book, you are immersed in a moving motorcycle on the highway in the morning. And it's a great first sentence or two. And so I read that book, Zen and the Art of Motorcycle Maintenance by Robert Pirsig, while bicycling, mostly across Nebraska. Because Nebraska, it was just cornfields as far as the eye can see. And so I had one of those handlebar packs, and I laid the book on the handlebar pack and read that book while bicycling. I later reread it, but the first reading was really, you know, key. And he has a second book called Lila, L-I-L-A. And really, you really need both. Current day, there's a well-known psychologist and professor out of Toronto named Jordan Peterson. And Jordan Peterson will often refer to this Zen and the Art of Motorcycle Maintenance. But he never refers to Lila. And Lila is really the other half of the other side of that coin. And I think him specifically because he's from, I think, Saskatoon, the Saskatoon area, and there's a specific outcome of the details of that book that relates directly to Saskatoon in my reading. And I would like to explain it to that guy, but I don't think he's even read the book. So maybe he'll read it, maybe he has and it didn't touch him. But anyway, let's get back to where we're going. Quality. The whole first book of Zen and the Art of Motorcycle Maintenance is focused on this word quality. So Robert Pirsig, or the character in the book, which seems to represent him, was a college professor. And a fellow college professor says, "I hope you're teaching quality," just as a passing remark, which probably didn't mean much to the person who said it. But it got this guy thinking about the word quality. And so it's a long 400, 500, 600 page book, and there's just page after page of what does this word quality mean. Now I want to point out also that this phenomenon where if you look at a word too hard or you press it too much, it kind of melts like ice and gets really slippery. Any word can get really slippery if you push it too hard. So anyway, maybe my thing does work. Let's see. Alright, I'll give it another chance. It worked. Anyway, let's just stick with the idea of quality. So you want something quality as in well made. Like I thought I was getting a quality kitchen timer, and it's kind of so-so. Those flashlights were very low quality. Oh, anyway, I was going to mention the new violin. It's called, the company name is Glasser. It's a Glasser AEX. And there's some detailed points that I could criticize about this. But all in all, this is A+. This is a great little instrument. It's quite interesting because it's an electronic fiddle. There's the plug-in, but the electronics have no connection to the actual instrument. Okay, because here you have the instrument is this thing, and then there's the chin rest, the tailpiece, and the bridge. And so it's a piezo pickup that's in the bridge. It goes through the tailpiece where there's a volume knob, and then into the chin rest where there's a preamp that takes batteries. And in the package, when you buy it, there's not only an extra set of batteries, but there's one of these little screwdrivers that fits that little screw. So I do have some complaints, which I'll leave for another time, but the fact that they send you 2 extra batteries and this little screwdriver tells you the attention to detail. So there's a very good, for what it is, it's very good. It's an extremely versatile, usable instrument, and I just used this in the Illinois State Fiddle Contest 2 weeks ago. And I'll respond to one of the complaints about this is it doesn't really project like a fine violin. But when I was playing to a microphone that was right here, and so in a lot of circumstances playing the violin you don't really need to project like a fine violin. And a lot of times a person might have this and a fine violin. So is this a fine, refined violin? No. Is it a great thing? Yes. It is a very usable instrument. I've had it for a month and a half now. Thumbs up. Okay, I'll include my one complaint, but I wanted to just preface it by saying that I really think these are highly usable, very useful thing. Has two tone knobs, a volume knob and two tone knobs. You know, it's really, really great. Okay, so that said, I have one complaint. The complaint is the whole neck and the fingerboard and the head are all one piece. It's a molded piece. But if you look here on the back, let me get my other fiddle's in the case, but my complaint is that the scroll is there's no real, the scroll is almost like a rough draft of a scroll. And so since it's a mold, that means it's like a metal mold that you pour this liquid plastic-like stuff into. I think they should upgrade the mold for the next model. I think when they remake these, I think Glasser is really onto something good here. And if there's some obvious improvements, because this is the preamp, you know, it's a little heavy, but you know, it does a good job. It all sounds really good. It's a very high quality amplification system. So that could be lighter, but that's pretty obvious. What's not obvious is in the upgrade, they should make a new mold of the neck and head that has some nice detail. Let me just go get the other one. I want to show my left-handed violin. So I have two violins. I have the red one, and I have the left-handed one. And so this one is built as a left-handed model, this one's built as a right-handed model, but I play them both left-handed. But my point was that this is not a very expensive violin, but still, if you look at the head, there's a real artistry. This is a handmade, hand-carved thing, you know. And here's your vocabulary word for the day. There's this area, then there's this edge. There's what's called a chamfer, C-H-A-M-F-E-R. The chamfer is this little edge taken off this whole scroll. So even though this is not a highly valuable instrument, there's some real care put into this. And not only real care, there's some real skill evident in this head. And the Glasser, even though it's just a mold, and they just start with one of these heads, and they make a mold out of that, there's really no artistry or detail. There's no chamfer whatsoever. So, A+ on the violin, but if you're going to look for an improvement, because Glasser's, you know, done something good, they're a couple years they're going to want to do the new and improved model. They could not use a rough draft head. Finish the head. Make a mold, make a nice scroll, have somebody with some personality make a nice scroll, and use that as a mold, because this is a little bit disappointing. But other than that, little disappointing. I'm very happy with the AEX. Doing a great job so far. I've went way over my time. Welcome to Out of the Blue, number 434.5.